the idea that 150 some odd years later, because this is measured between 2016 and 2018, life expectancy was lower for black people in counties where, in southern U.S. counties, obviously, that is where we had the highest density of slavery. And highest density of slavery basically means how many slaves were there relative to slave owners. And we've interviewed authors in the past who have found data where you can predict election outcomes based on that density. Years later, this is a study that came out of the University of Texas out of Austin. The study controlled for other factors affecting life expectancy, such as household income, poverty, access to health care, and occupational hazards. Almost 30 such factors were accounted for in the research by Robert Reese. He says, to be clear, this effect goes beyond income or poverty. This isn't just poverty or lack of health care under a different name. White life expectancy in such counties was higher than in others during the same period, suggesting that the legacy of slavery also functions to lengthen life expectancies of white people in former slave states. There is a strong negative correlation between the number of enslaved people in a county in 1860 and black life expectancy today. The reverse is true for white people. Theirs is a positive correlation, meaning white people who live in places where there were more slaves tend to have longer life expectancies. Nobody's quite sure as to why, right? This is a correlation, and nobody's quite sure as to why. Reese suggests in his report that slavery may affect contemporary outcomes because behaviors and priorities established pre-1865 remain entrenched in local communities. He suggests that the history of slavery in southern counties may have made black people also, this could be another explanation, people wary of the type of treatment they may receive from white healthcare providers who sought to minimize the healthcare concerns of black people. In response to this wariness, black people in counties with stronger legacy of slavery may or may not may be more likely to avoid healthcare services. And that same legacy of slavery may prioritize white health outcomes. And, you know, this could be a function in some ways of the way that the towns are structured relative to train tracks or power plants or dumps or whatever it is. But it's fascinating.
Like all those things seem plausible as factors in it. Like I've read William Byrd, the slave master in Virginia's diary, and a lot of their work was actually experimenting on their slaves, different types of cures and stuff like that, pretty brutally. And you know, one thing that hasn't changed is there's a class structure based on race that hasn't been that was never uprooted following the Civil War.
Right.
Probably the highest correlation to health outcomes is class, right? So that would make sense.
But it does control for income.
Wow. Okay.
And so it's hard to say. It is hard to say what causes this.